Let's cross to Kyiv and speak to our correspondent Emmanuelle Chaze, who's standing by for us. Emmanuelle, just how concerned are Ukrainians that this meeting is going ahead without President Zelensky present?
Well, that's exactly the main worry for Ukrainians, is that it will be about Ukraine, but without Ukraine. And that was the fear of the population here and of the government since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, that any talks about Ukraine would not involve it. Now, there would be a point of reassurance with Donald Trump saying that nothing would be negotiated on his side about Ukraine without Kyiv. But of course, that's the worry. There's also a worry because we've been talking about maybe Vladimir Putin agreeing to, in the future to a ceasefire. But even if it's a ceasefire that the aggressor of Ukraine has agreed upon, then at what conditions for Ukraine? When it comes to territorial concessions, for example, Ukraine would rather, get its own territories back rather than having to swap Ukrainian territory for other Ukrainian territories. That's what an MP, a member of the parliament today, was telling me, that this would be politically wrong and it would be also diplomatically wrong if Russia, as the aggressor, would get any, claim to Ukrainian land. That being said, Ukrainians, of course, also have no choice but to see that 20% of their territory is already occupied by Russia. This is a worry not just because of the territorial question, but about the humanitarian a state for people still living in occupied territory.
So is there any hope for Ukrainians? It seems like, a far-off idea, especially given that the Russian assault continues even today, the day of the summit.
Absolutely. This is definitely, two realities. The diplomatic stage on the international, at an international level, where we hear that there might be hopes that Vladimir Putin will come around and, consider meeting Vladimir Zelensky, consider a ceasefire in the not-so-distant future. And then the reality here in Ukraine, where on the front line, the Russian army continues to launch offensive after offensive, especially in the Donetsk region, when Russian troops also bomb Ukraine continuously. This happened every day, including today. We've had an air red alert here in Kyiv earlier this afternoon. So, Ukrainians see no end to this war from the ground as of now.
Emmanuelle Chaze reporting for us there. Thank you very much indeed.